Now we're going to be talking about dimensions on the floor plan. We have discussed it briefly at the beginning of the semester, but now we're actually going to go more in, well, some information that you need to know in regards of how to read the plans, how to read dimensions, and also how to place them once you get to that point, which uh, you will do that. So dimensions. What are dimensions? Why do we need dimensions? Well, dimensions are necessary and your plans or your drawings because they're the ones that tell the actual size of whatever feature, being a wall, being a door, a window opening, size of the sidewalk, or the length of what's the distance from the property line to the actual structure. So those that information that you need to know space wise, you're given, or one way of giving them is through dimensions, and dimensions are very important on the plans. Again, for that reason, and you as a designer need to know where to place these dimensions and how to place them. Okay, so one thing is where do I put them, and second, how do I put them? There's a standard you have to follow. You can't just start putting dimensions everywhere because it's going to be hard for the contractor to know or to read your dimensions. And like I told you before, print reading it's a language. You need to put them and place them in the correct way so you can get your information across efficiently to the contractor in this case or whoever you're working with. So dimensions are very important. They have to be neat. They have to be easy to read. They have to be placed in the right location so it aesthetically they look good on the plan. So there's some rules that we're going to go over as that we use here for a program. Okay. So again, here's the lecture or the lecture notes. Line dimension. We're going to talk about that. Some notes and revisions and all that. But we're going to go one by one. And again, dimensions provide measurements of construction. Uh, they're found in all the architectural drawings, and they're lines and numerical value symbols. And there are also other sources of information to provide measurements or provide measurements for a feature or for an area or a space. Okay, and here's a sample of the dimensions. Okay, let's start with that. And this right here in a different color, these are the dimensions. Now notice how they're placed and notice how they read. Okay, first rule, you always place dimensions so you can read them from the bottom or from the right side. So if I were to zoom in, now here it's just pixelated, so it's hard to see. All the numbers from the dimensions, you can read them from the bottom and from the right side. In other words, they go from left to right, left to right. You will never read a dimension upside down or reading it from the left to right. And I'll show you an example right now in AutoCAD. Okay, so you have two, I guess, main areas for dimensioning. You have the exterior dimensions, which go on the outside of your structure. Okay, these are exterior dimensions. Notice how they are on all four sides. On rear, front, left, and right, or north, south, east, and west, depends where your north arrow is. But these are the exterior dimensions. Okay, so whenever you hear that exterior dimensions, we're talking about the exterior of your uh, structure, house, or building, whatever you're designing. These are the exterior dimensions. Interior dimensions, they come inside the house, inside the structure. Now, why do we have interior dimensions? Because you cannot get all the features. You cannot dimension all the features inside on the exterior dimension. Why? Because you don't want to have run lines from here all the way to the inside, so it's going to get real messy. That's why you get all the exterior features on the outside, and then the interior features you're going to place them, or you're going to put dimensions for them in the inside. Now, the way you dimension, and I'm getting ahead now on the actual PowerPoint, but that's fine. The interior dimensions, you as a designer have to know where to place them. Okay, so in other words, don't start putting dimensions everywhere because it's gonna get all messy. So you need to find a dimension line where you can say, okay, if I place it around here, I'll be able to get all the walls or the features that I need. Okay, so you have to strategically find a place where you can put your interior dimensions so you can get as much as the features as you can. Okay, for example, if this dimension I put it down here, then it's gonna be hard for me to get. Well, I could, but it's gonna get messy because I have lines, the extension lines going everywhere, and it's gonna cover some other information. So again, you have to find a place strategically where you can put those aligned dimensions or the dimension line, so you can grab as much features as you can. Now again, why do you need interior dimensions? Because there's going to be some features that you cannot get from the exterior dimensions, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more further on. Okay, so we have exterior, and you have interior. Okay, now a dimension itself, I think we discussed this, but let's go over it again. Um, the dimensional place within the lines of dimension lines. Let me show you. Oh, actually, yes, we discussed this before. These are dimensions. Okay, these lines with those ticks and that number, these are dimensions, but the actual dimension, it's made out of different lines. You have the extension lines, which extend from the actual structure or object. Okay, those are extension lines. They extend from whatever you're trying to measure. So you have here a section of looks like a CMU wall with a window. So this is the dimension for the exterior wall to the center of that window. It's 5 feet. And then from the center of that window to the center of this wall, right to the center, it's 5 feet. And then the overall dimension, I guess again for that room, it's 10 feet from the exterior to the middle of this wall. Okay, so these are dimensions. We have 3 dimensions here: 1, 2, 3, for 3 features for this one, that one, and then the overall. But the actual dimension, it's made out of extension lines, which we have here, here, and here. And then the line that goes across from extension line to the extension line, that's called a dimension line, and that's where the number is going to be. Okay, and then this shapes or this symbols tell you from what point to what point you're measuring. For example, if I have, since I have see this tick here and another tick here, I know that this 10 feet is going to be from this point to that point. Of course, and I look at the extension line. 5 feet is going to be from this point to that point, and of course you look at the extension lines from where it's extending, and from this tick to this tick, architectural tick, is 5 feet, but you have to look up where the extension lines are going. Now, they could vary. Thick slash, thin one, dot, arrows, close arrow, open arrow. These are gonna vary. They depend on the whichever firm you're gonna work for, or your own. Once you do your own standards, so these are gonna vary. So if you see like this, it doesn't make nothing different. If you see it with a dot, same thing. It's just telling you from where to where. Okay. In our case here at the program, our standards are architectural ticks. So when we start doing our dimension styles in the basic AutoCAD class, we're gonna set them to architectural tick. Okay, so that's what is it. That's what is it that we're looking at. All right. Here it is. So if we go over it, it reads from the bottom right on the sheet, number center, and the place above the solid line, which are the dimension lines. Okay. Now let me show you something from. Actually, let's go back to the plan. Let me show you the book now. Okay, it goes more in depth on how to place the dimensions. Okay, and again, this is part of what we had there, and some more explanation. What the book says about aligned dimension or dimensions, it's this, that your dimensions are aligned as such. Okay, you don't have dimensions everywhere; they have to be aligned, neatly placed. Now, there's ways. Now, well, before I go into that, from where do you start dimensioning? Well, according to the book, if you read it, it tells you that you're going to dimension from the actual. Actually, here's hard to see. To the actual frame, whatever's holding the structure. Okay. In the book, it tells you to start dimensioning, and for example, here we have this dimension, this walls. Okay. and the dimension it's going from the actual edge of that frame to the edge of this frame. Okay. Now the way the book says it, which I'm not saying is wrong, it's the way the book says it, but we do it a little bit different here. And again, it depends on the practice. Some dimensions, or some people dimension to the exterior of the frame, and some others dimension to the exterior of the veneer if you have a veneer. Okay, and I'll show you some samples of that. Now, the book talks about sheathing. Okay, it talks about I don't know where it's at, somewhere here. No. Dimension. I saw it somewhere here. Exterior dimensions. Come on. There we go. Says here, sheathing. It's a covering material placed over the walls, floor, and roofs, and so on and so forth. That's what covers. You have the stud. And I'll show you a picture. And the sheathing. I'm sorry. It's the covering, or the I guess the backing, where they're gonna start either place stucco or brick or stone, whatever it is. So that's a covering again. And then before they put that, they have to put some sort of a barrier, moisture barrier. So some dimension to the actual outside of the sheathing, others to the inside of the sheathing, and then some others, and I'll show you some sample, dimension to the actual exterior. Like if you have brick or whatever you have, they start the dimension from there. All right. So just keep that in mind. Now the way and I'll show you an example right now. And here, just look over this. It tells you exactly what it is. And actually, I'm going to show you a picture of what that is. So this is the sheathing. This is the stud sheathing. Some dimension to the exterior dimension of the sheathing. Some on the inside to the actual stud, because the stud is the one holding the house up or building, and if you're using a frame home or frame building. Okay, so let me show you pictures, and let me see where they are. Let me move this on the other screen so you don't see, so I can look for them. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. Again, you can't see what I'm doing, so. Okay. Let me open this. I want to open some pictures here to show you what I'm talking about. This I took some students to see to a site, and hopefully we can do this again. Where can I show you? Let's see this one. Okay, this is the sheathing. Right, it's hard to see, but if you imagine, this is the outside, right? We're inside the structure, and you see the studs. Actually, you see right here, and then the sheathing goes on the outside. See, on the outside. So here they're probably gonna put a vapor barrier, and then I think for this home, I think they were gonna do stucco, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see if we have another one. See right here. See the stud right there. Let's zoom in, see if I can. This is the stud, right? And then that's the vapor barrier. And then that's the sheathing right there. OSB board. I guess we can see it here too. See the stud and the sheathing right there. And then the vapor barrier, that black, it's the felt in between. Okay, so some dimension to the exterior, to this stud right here. Some dimension to the outside of the sheathing, which is right there. So some dimension to this point. Or let me see here. Some dimension to this point right there, where the thumb of this thing is, or some dimension to the outside of the sheathing, which is right there. But now you know what it is that you're looking at. All right. But some dimension again to the exterior, whatever facade you have on the outside, that's where the dimension to. Just keep that in mind when you're doing dimensions, or you're reading dimensions too. Make sure you know from where to where you're dimensioning. Okay, let me see if there's more samples here. That's a garage. That's the group. I guess here. See the stud, and then the sheathing. Okay, so either a dimension to this surface or to that surface, or again, when the houses or when the whatever exterior finish they have, they dimension to that too. In our case, that's the way we do it. We dimension to the outside face, whatever it is. But again, make sure you're aware of these things. Now, close this. How do you place them? Whenever you put dimensions, and on AutoCAD, we tell AutoCAD when we place dimensions to give us a gap, which is that gap right there. You always want to have a gap between the structure and the dimension where the extension starts. In reality, what AutoCAD is doing in our case, it's placing the dimension right at that corner, but we always tell AutoCAD, give us a gap. Now why? Because when it's in black and white, if this light extends all the way down, and let's say you have another wall here and it extends all the way down, now it gets confusing. Is that line part of the wall itself, or is it a dimension? So you need to differentiate. So you always leave a gap there. So if you're doing it by hand, which you're going to be doing as an exercise, you always want to have a gap right there. Okay? Now, let me go back here. The way you place them. And I'm going to finish this video right now in a bit because I don't want for it to get too long. Where do you place them? You need to put them, you need to align them. Now there's a way of doing it. For example, if you look at this one, and I'll show you another example. You have different dimension lines. You have this dimension line, you have some dimensions there, and then you have this dimension line, which you have more dimensions there, and then this one, and then the last one. Now notice that you have different dimensions. Why not put everything in one line? Well, because it's going to get too messy. Another reason why is because when you're dimensioning, you have to put, remember, it's a language. You're telling somebody else to do what you want them to do. Like, it's your design, it's your plan, and you want for them to do it exactly the way you want it. So you want to make it as clear as possible, and that's one of the reasons. So you want to give dimensions to the contractor, and you want to be specific about it. For example, I'm going to start from the outside in. If I'm the contractor, right, I want to know how much is from here, from this wall. In other words, I want to know the exact width of the house. So from this point to that point, which is the width, right? So I want to give a dimension for that, and that's the outermost dimension. You can see right there, it extends to this point, and it goes all the way to that point. So I'm giving overall dimension. There's the first one. Oops, right there. Can I highlight it? The other one. Oops. Notice here you have another one. It goes from this point to that point, and then from this point to that point. What am I doing now? Now I'm doing major breaks. This is my overall dimension if I see it from the outside, but I have a different, I guess, planes, right? Different. They're not. The wall doesn't continue. There's a break here. So any major breaks, you have to dimension them. In other words, now I'm going to break it into sections. We have one section, and then we have another section. Okay. So again, dimension from here to here, from one section, from here to here, to the other section. So now I gave the overall dimension, and now I gave it in major breaks. Now the third dimension that we have here, notice that it's going from here to there, from here to there, from here, there, here, there, here, there. Now if you pay attention, now it's doing, it's breaking the information. For example, it's going from here to here. So in other words, it's telling me now from the exterior to get to this wall is going to give me that dimension. From here to get me to the edge, that one. From here to get me to the center of this door, that one. From here to the center of this door, that one, and then to the edge. And now the inner one is it's going into the doors and windows. From the edge, always from here, it's so much to the door. From this door to the window, it's so much. From this window to this wall, it's so much. And from the wall to this one, it's so much. Now, this is what you're going to do. You need to align them, and then each dimension line, it goes to a different part of the house or for a different feature. The way we do it here, now this is a little messy. I wouldn't do it like this. See how you're cutting dimensions like this? I wouldn't do that. Okay? So to prevent that, the way we're going to do it here, or you're going to do it here with us, and let me show you an example of it. It's going to be something like this. Now, this is how we're going to break it. The innermost dimension is going to be for doors and windows. Okay? So again, you always start from one of the walls. Why? And again, think as a contractor. When the contractor is building, they're not gonna start doing the walls inside. They're gonna start doing the frame first, right? Because that's what's gonna hold the structure. Once they have that, they want to know where the interior walls are, so they can start doing the walls inside, and also where the windows are, so they can start framing them, and doors and so on. And major breaks, of course, right? They need to know if I'm doing this frame, I want to do it up to here, and then come this way, and then go this way, and so on. So when you dimension it, you have to keep that in mind. So notice here, the way we're going to do it here, it's the first dimension line, the innermost dimension line is going to be for doors and windows. So how do you do it? You grab it, you pull it in from the out. You always tie it to a wall. Now notice here that we dimension it to the. This is a brick veneer, and it's missing the hatch, but it's a brick veneer. So what we're doing here, we dimension from the exterior. It's from the actual veneer to the actual veneer on this side. Well, this is a column there, but it's up to here. So that's 42 feet in width from brick veneer on the outside to the outside surface to surface. It's 42 feet. So now that I know that, if I were to be the contractor, I'm going to start asking, where do I place that window? So now me as a designer have to tell them, go from this edge 6'9.5", and that's going to tell you the center of that window. And then with this number there, it tells you, we went over it, 30/50, it means 3 feet 0 inches by 5 feet 0 inches. So if they want to frame the actual width, it's 3 feet. So from the center, they're gonna go 1'6" this way, 1'6" this way, and they can frame that window, right? Because they need to provide the opening, the framing. So the inner one, it's going to be for doors and windows. So from here to this window. Now, on the plan that I show you in the book, it's going from window to window, and it's going to cut dimensions. You don't want to do that. So just go from, in this case, from this window to this interior wall, and then take it to the window where you need it, and then tie it again to the wall. So you don't cross dimensions. Okay? Now the second dimension line is going to be for interior walls. So notice it's going to come from here. I have an interior wall right here. So it's going to give it from here to this interior wall. And then from this interior wall, take it all the way to the edge. So the second one is going to be for interior walls that I can grab from the outside. There's some interior walls that I can't. But the ones that I can grab, those the ones that connect to the exterior wall, those you can show. And then the third one is going to be major breaks, which is from here to here, which is here, this is a different plane, this and this. And then from here to here, and then the overall is the whole thing. So that's how we're going to lay them out. Now, notice something here. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dimension lines. Here I have 1, 2, 3. Why? Because if you have, for example, this one I have 4, because I have this major break. On this side, I don't. It's all straight. So what I'm going to show, and now notice I only have one window. So I'm going to tie my window to one of the walls that I'm going to have already. Okay, so let me start from the outside on this one. I'm going to do the overall, which is 33 feet from this edge to this edge. And then the one that followed, it will be major breaks, but I don't have major breaks, so I don't have to put it. But I do have interior walls that I can grab that are connecting with my exterior wall. So I'm going to jump to interior walls, which is going to be from here to that wall of the closet, from that to behind the restroom, from there to the actual restroom wall, and then from there to the actual another closet wall, and then from there all the way to the end. Now I have a window, and I only have it here. So why should I dimension all the way from here, put a dimension here, which is going to be the same as that one? Why do I do a dimension from here to here, which is going to be the same as that one? And again, you have to think about the process. So by the time they want to frame the window, all I have to tell the contractor, from this wall that you already have, that already gave you that information, you know where this wall is. I'm going to have to pull those dimensions again, because you already know. You know, it's here. From here, just go to 6, to the center of the window. You have the window width right there. And then from here, tie it down again to that window, to that wall, I'm sorry. So in other words, you don't have to put lines everywhere. It doesn't have to be all the way through. You just have to provide the information that the contractor needs. Okay, now here, outermost 42 from here to here. Do you have a major break here? Yes, I do. So I'm going to show 37 for this major break, 28.5 for this break right here. So this surface and that one. Then the other one is going to be doors and windows. Actually, interior walls. Do I have an interior wall here? No. That's why I don't have nothing here. See? Do I have interior walls here? Well, actually, we could have gotten that one, but it's going to start messing up, so that one they put it there. But I do have one here that divides this wall from the what is it on the garage from the living room. So I'm gonna go from this wall. In this case, we're gonna grab that column they have there, and then from that column we're gonna grab that wall, and then from that wall we go all the way to the end. And now the inner one, which we said doors and windows, we're gonna go from the edge to we have a window here, yes, from there to there, from there to the wall, from there to the door, from the door to the column, from the column to the other window, from the window to the other interior wall, and then from the interior wall to the center of this garage door. Okay, so that's how you lay it out. Now, it might be kind of confusing for you now, but they have to be aligned. Okay, and now the spacing is very important. The spacing that I have from here to this first one, and then from this one, and this one is going to be a little bit bigger, and we're going to go over that. And then the space from this one to that one is going to have to be the same from that one to that one, and from that one to that one. So it has to be the same spacing from here to here, and then from here to here, from here to here. Okay, so it has to be consistent on all sides. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I'll stop it right there if I talk too much, and then I'll continue in the next section.